Welcome to Bitrix24 Live. I am Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Interface with Bitrix24 Gold Partners, and with me I have our Technical Manager Andy Naylor.
Hi guys, so we're going to be here for the next hour answering your questions, everything related to Bitrix24. On the screen we will have a cloud version of Bitrix. So if you're using the free version up to the professional version, we'll have that on the screen. And we'll also have an on-premise version as well. So we're answering questions on every version of Bitrix. If you do have any questions, do put them in the box provided on YouTube and we can answer them as we go along. We do have questions come to us during the week, and we usually start each session off with those questions. If you do have those questions that come to you in the week, send them over to sales@interface.com, the email address on the screen at the moment, and then we can start the next session off with those. We have an office in the US, in the UK and in the UAE. We are Bitrix24 Gold Partners. We offer a whole range of different services, so things from pre-sale support. So if you're looking at purchasing Bitrix, then we can assist with that with an online demonstration with us and your team. We also offer licensing. We offer premium support services such as ticketing support, telephone support and live chat support as well. So I think Damien's got some questions to start off with.
Yeah, we've got a question here. I'm working from home. I need to have video conferences with my project team. How can I do this? So that's a common question at the moment. So you can see all your chats on the right hand side. Down here, any new messages that come in will have a notification indicator on top of these, and it's possible to start start a new chat, or I can see the ones down here and we can create a new chat. You've got these options: one-to-one chat, a private chat or a public chat. So obviously public chats, groups, anyone can invite, anyone can join. But we can create a private chat group. We can call it project team. Give it a name, and then you can use the same chat group every week. And then we can.
You have to invite some people in there.
Let's invite some. Can invite our. And I think once you've created it as a chat group, then it will save that group. Let's see if we've got some down here. So it'll save that group and you can pick up a conversation with that. I can't remember if the user said they wanted to, or they want a video conference with their project team. So you can do that.
I think the best idea is to go onto here. We've got on here. Let's have a look. That's the best one.
Okay, so yeah, we've got 4 people in this group. And you can have a video call or a voice call. So we can set up. We've not got a camera on this one, but we can. You can initiate a video call with this group of users.
There we go.
So you can invite it. So that would be any user of the system. You can invite extranet users into that group, that chat group as well. It might be that you actually want to create a work group for that. So you could do something similar, create a work group for your project team. That would mean that people can post. Just a quick look at a work group. that would mean that people can post documents and tasks and things like that into that group as well. But you can, within a work group, you can also create. It will automatically create a chat group for each work group that you create. So you can, as well as the video calls, you can have instant message conversations. You can share files. If you're using the desktop app, you can share screens as well. So it's pretty similar to what you can do on Skype.
Yeah, I had a question that came through, and it was a question really about the involvement of their sales agents in the CRM, and they wanted to find out how active they've been in the CRM to make sure that they were doing their job. And it's quite a relevant topic really with regards to how we are at the moment working remotely. And the way to do it really is in the CRM, you should always ensure that your sales team are booking activity on whatever it is that they're working on. So if a lead comes in, so if we've got support for an annual cloud lead that's come in, you should always ensure that your team are booking activity onto new leads that are coming in. And what I mean by activity is we should be scheduling calls in on the system. So if we've got this particular inquiry that's come in and we want to schedule a call in, we can say, so we can give it a name, gather information on support inquiry. We can give it a name, interested in purchasing support for the Bitrix24 cloud. And then it's an outbound call and it's going to be tomorrow. So you should ensure that your sales guys are working in the CRM by doing that, booking activity on not only leads, but when we progress from a lead into a deal. And what Bitrix provides you with is the activity section in the CRM. So we've got the activities here inside the CRM. And what you can do is you can actually search for your sales team and find out what they've actually been booking in on the system with regards to activities. So in our case, we're logged in as Max Smith. So you could change this to anybody. You can also find the departments in here whilst you're searching. But you can really find what it is that you're looking for. So how many calls has Max been booking in for a given period of time? And you need to have the start time. So this is when the activity has been booked in, and it might be that you want to say how many outbound calls has Max booked in this week that have been completed and not completed. So if we were to click on search, you can see here that Max has had 3 outbound calls this week. One of them's been completed. You can see that it's been completed thanks to the checkered flag here. And you can see who Max has been dealing with. So the one that we've just inputted in there on that particular lead, you can see if I click in this lead, we can see the activity directly from the lead itself. But you can see there's 3. Click on show quantity, you'll be able to see 3. So you can start building up some reporting capabilities to ensure that your staff are booking in activity on the CRM as they should do, because that is generally how the CRM should be working.
Okay. After I rent a number from Bitrix, are there any other steps I need to take before I can receive inbound calls? So there's one critical step really you need to do. Let's just have a quick look through this. So it is quite quick to rent a number and to be up and running receiving calls. So we've rented a number up here, and we can configure that. Let's have a look. Where's rent a number? Rent a number. So this is the start. Rent a number. They change the layout. You can choose your region, choose the type of number you want, and you can rent it. Once you've rented it, it'll appear here. And you can configure your number. So let's go into configure, and So there's a few different settings you can do here about whether you want to integrate the CRM, whether you want to record calls, or whether you want to set open and closed hours and things. But really the main one you need to do is choose who can receive those incoming calls. So if you're just receiving all calls, if you're not integrating with a phone system, you're receiving calls inside Bitrix, you're going to need a headset or speakers and microphone, of course, to be able to talk on that call. But essentially, it will just come through to your laptop or desktop machine. The only thing you need to do is choose which of the users are going to receive those incoming call notifications. So as we've got here, let's just take that out. So you can select inbound calls to responsible person. So the person who's responsible for that contact will receive that. So that might be worth selecting. A lot of the calls might not be, a lot of the numbers that are calling in might not be recorded in the CRM. So you also need a group. You need to choose who can receive these calls. So we've got a group, route inbound calls to queue group. So we've got one called default group. I'm guessing there's always a default group. You can create multiple groups. So I can create a new group here, and you can check the settings of that group in here. So this is the thing you need to do. Add your users into here. Might be that we want to have a number of people in our inbound sales team that can take these inbound calls. Once we've set that, saved that, then it'll ring on their machines. You can do things here about how you enable or distribute those calls. We're distributing to everybody. Might be worth doing. You can do it evenly, so it goes from one to another in the order that you've selected them on here. Sure, if we can move these around, yeah, you'd need to sort of play with getting the order right if you wanted the calls to be distributed from one to another. So that's it really. That's the key one. Create your group and add the users to that particular group. Other things you can do: create leads for incoming calls that are not where the number doesn't already exist against a contact. Do you want to record calls? Save calls to the contact. You can transcribe calls if you want to do that. That's a chargeable service. Set your working hours, and then you can have voicemails and things for calls that come outside of those working hours.
Got a few questions that have come in. I've created several list fields, each with a set of numeric values to calculate a point score. Is there a formula field or a way to total them? So I know that's come from Warwick. There is on the system that you've got, you would be able to calculate it, but you will need to do it in a way that it requires a little bit of PHP code. So drop me an email after the live session ends, and we can see if we can get those fields to calculate. We'll take a look.
Okay, is there any way for people in Jamaica to use the telephone service? So I don't think you can rent a number in Jamaica at the moment. So
actually this came up. We've got a client in Jamaica that we saw the issue with being blocked. So it's not actually possible on a cloud version, but we've actually we've lifted with Bitrix's help. We've actually lifted it on an on-premise solution. So I know exactly the issue you're experiencing. You can actually do it on an on-premise version. So it might be worth getting in touch with us after as we fix that issue this week, actually.
So we've got a solution. It's good. Can video conferencing be used to invite clients outside non-users for sales presentations or training? Yeah, you can. So the way to do that would be, I think it'd be to create a work group probably. I would probably create a work group for each client. It's what we do internally, create a work group for each client. So this is your client, and then you can create. You can do all sorts of things like create tasks and things for them that you could assign internally. You can store documents relating to that particular prospect client, and you can have a video call with them. So everyone in this, we looked at a minute ago, everyone in this group will be able to join in that video call.
Yeah, if you download the desktop application, what the desktop application will allow you to do is allow you to share your screen. So if you're doing a presentation for this, as Damien mentioned, the best way to do it, create your external group, invite your client in, invite the other members of the project in as well. You will need to go on to your desktop application and you can share your screen on the application, and then that would allow you to then do that presentation on there. So that's the best way to do it.
Okay, I want to ask about workflow in Bitrix. So there's a few different workflows in Bitrix. Let's have a look. So workflows are assignments that you have to action or add your input to in order for a process to complete or continue. And typically the main one will be something like leave request. So leave request is a standard workflow that's built in. If we go into our workflows link, which is here, you can see, I think the standard ones are leave request, business trip, general request, purchase request. You can build your own. One we demonstrate quite a bit is new starter, an onboarding process for new starters. But the typical, the common one is this leave request. I think as standard it has those sort of top 3-4 fields, and then we've added a couple of extra ones in. They're not mandatory, but we added extra fields in. So you can customize these workflows. So you can see that I've submitted that workflow. It's now with the approver, who I think as standard, the approver is your line manager as is set on the company organisation chart. Can I look at that? It's in the employees sections. You create your organisation chart, and then these approvals are sent to those correct people. So this user here, my line manager, will receive a workflow or an assignment, and something like this, something like you have one of your team has requested leave, and then I have to go in and accept or refuse that, and that's it. So that's, I mean, there are lots of different workflows. As I say, standard ones, a leave request, purchase request, if you want to request to buy some piece of machinery or something, office machinery or something. But you can create your own workflows, so it's quite a big area really that you can use for any administration or HR purposes within your business. But essentially, it's a form with a business process that sits behind it, and then you'll have various sort of approvals along the way. I think with HR, with leave request, it goes to your immediate manager who's from the organisation chart, and then it goes up to maybe the manager above that. So just have a quick look at that so you know what I'm talking about. So you might have, if I'm in this team, John White's going to be the person that approves the initial request, and then I think goes up to the department above. And you can customise this. It might be actually the chief executive up here is the person that needs to approve, be the second and final approver for all leave requests. So they work off this. They don't have to work off this. You can customise it. You can have in your workflow. You can just hard code in, just specify one particular person within the organisation that approves all leave requests. So you can modify the form itself and the process that sits behind it.
Got a question saying you've created a skeleton group, but your tasks inside that skeleton group are showing. I suppose the question is, how often are you going to use that skeleton group to create your workgroup templates? If it's not very often, I would recommend bulk closing the tasks, so completing them, and then when you're ready to create a new workgroup from that skeleton, just reopen them again. It's the most straightforward thing to do, really. It gets them out of your task planner then. So I'd recommend doing that.
Okay, how can I export to Google Sheets all the registries from a specific CRM web form? I have a group that needs to update the registries as they progress in an activating each application's profile. So when you fill out a form, it creates a lead. Well, actually, you can create anything generally. I mean, they can create different entities, but generally they create a lead. You specify that in the form, what they create. So we've got one here. If you want to export all of these, you need to do a filter by source, I think. Does that not work?
Yeah, you'd need to do it. So whatever your form's called, the lead will always be called whatever your form's called. So it'll say complete CRM form, and then this is the name of your form. So you would definitely need to highlight the name of it, click on copy, and then for pulling the field for lead name, and then that would be able to group. Oh. So you would then filter like that, click on search, and that would pull you your list up.
You could have a second field in here that filtered by then date. So you could search for the last 7 days. You'd add the created date in here. Created on, modify, created on. We've got the created date already. Created on. You pick your date range. I won't do it now. And then once you've got your list, your filtered list, you can export them to Excel or CSV, and then you can
open it.
So you wanted to export to Google Sheets, you could export to one of those, and they'll work in Google Sheets. Put our contact details up if you want to get in touch. So how can we get in touch with you, Kamal? That's how you get in touch with us on sales@intreface.com, or one of those telephone numbers, one of those numbers which is local to you, and we can either arrange a demo for you or answer specific questions you've got about the capabilities of Bitrix.
Just with regards to the next point, so a profile would have to be created for each participant. Just thinking, Bitrix have recently released or releasing the new invite tool, aren't they, to invite people to a group chat, I do believe. So I think maybe you wouldn't have to create them in a work group. You would have to at the moment. What you've said is true, but I think Bitrix are releasing a way to be able to invite potential clients, because you might not want them on your system just yet, to Bitrix. So maybe we can try and chase up Bitrix when that's going to be released.
Okay, can you recommend how one should go about updating company Our Live section to reflect actual company details on the on-premise?
So I think you're referring to the company. I think we've modified ours a little bit on here, unless it's going to be in. I think it generally is in here. We've modified our page, but I mean, all you would need to do is come into here, and then there's two ways of doing it. You can click on show, click on edit page, and then you can modify this. We've got it split view at the moment, so you could edit it in here. Or alternatively, your company live will be in the about directory. So for those of you that are new to the on-premise, you do have access to all the source code internally inside Bitrix. So if I go to the content section, files and folders, and we click onto the about directory, then you can find the information in here. So if I just go into our menu type left, click on menu, you can see we only have those 2 pages at the moment. But I think the page you're referring to is going to be in the index file, because I think it is the home page. You click into here, click into the normal view rather than the PHP view, edit in visual editor, that's it. And then you can click on here, and then you can edit that page. But that's how you edit pages in the on-prem version.
Okay, can I restrict access to fields in the CRM? You can. I mean, if you want to restrict access to specific fields, and that's a new feature which Bitrix is launching with an update, should be within the next 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. So as it stands, you can customize. As an administrator, I can customize, well, actually anyone can customize the layout, but administrators have this common form view. So I'm looking at the common form view, and if I'm an administrator, I can make changes to the common form view, and all other users see that. So I can customize the fields, I can add fields in here. I can't restrict access to fields by individual users. I can just hide. I mean, it might be, I can hide a field here, click on hide, and it will be hidden for all users. So that is restricted. If you want just to restrict access to fields for all users, then that's available now. If you want to do different access for different users, that's coming soon. There is, yeah, that's it. I mean, you can do something around creating fields that become visible or mandatory as and when you change the status of a record, but restricting access, yeah, there's going to be a lot more on that very soon. Be available in the cloud soon, also on premise.
Yeah, there's a little bit more about that in the latest release video from Bitrix on the Bitrix24 YouTube channel.
Yeah. Does Bitrix provide email hosting? So yeah, there is an email client inside Bitrix, so you can either choose to host, use that email client to host your email. You can point your email, domain name to it, or you can just sync emails into. You can just continue to use another external client like Outlook, and you can sync those emails to the correct contact.
Well, Bitrix doesn't provide you with an email address. You would always need to have an email address before, and then you can connect it up. So as long as you've got an email from one of the main providers, so click on Connect New, those are the webmail services that Bitrix connects to. And if you obviously haven't got one of the providers, you can always click on IMAP when you get an email address from a hosting provider. Usually they will give you an IMAP credentials, and you can plug them into this particular section in here.
Okay, can I skip weekends and holidays on tasks? I think you can do something on that. So I guess you're talking about how long, if you put in a time to complete on, estimated time to complete on, can you take into account holidays and things? Let's create a task. So you click on time planning here. Is it under options? Yeah, so I can put on the duration of a task. So I'm estimating it to take 10 days and from the start date, and then I got some options here about what I count as 10 working days. So skip weekends and holidays. That's the one.
Yeah, I think you can set your weekends, because obviously different regions have different holidays and weekends. If you click on Customize, it is actually located in the Settings tab on the left hand side. So you can specify what your weekend days are, and you can also specify your holidays in there too. Please keep your questions coming through. We'll stay on as long as we keep getting some questions.
Is there a limit to number of CRM forms I can create? Not that I know of. I don't think there is any limit on that. I mean, on some packages there's limitations on what you can do on the lower cost packages, but I don't think there's any limitations at all on any of the packages for forms. So you should be able to create as many forms as you want. Yeah, you can pull in to create a form, pull in the fields from these leads, so it doesn't have to be just a standard field. You can create a custom field and pull that into the form. When somebody completes that form, it will populate that field.
One of the cool new features on the cloud is now that you can actually see who's online. So this is a new feature, and you can see in here We currently have 2 individuals online. We have the user Mac Smith and Andy Naylor on here. So that's quite useful, especially if you're in different locations, especially if you're working remotely. You want to be seeing that your staff are all online and visible. And then if you wanted to have that conversation with another member of the staff, you can click on the profile and click on chat, and you can have that conversation on there. So that's one of the cool new options up there.
Okay. When I associate a task with a CRM company, where can I view all the tasks associated to that company? Sure you can. Let's have a look. So you can see here that task is associated with that particular company. If we go into the company, there isn't a list view of tasks available in here. I wonder if you can do a filter by company.
Yeah, I think you could be able to, couldn't you? I think you could do a search in here.
Don't have company as a standard field in here, so yeah, it doesn't look like you can do. I mean, there is obviously an association created. It doesn't look like you can do.
I guess the only way you would do it would be to go into the company here, wouldn't you? Click on filter, and then you click on the event.
You've got tasks there.
Yeah, here, isn't it? Click on search, and then you'd be able to find out all the tasks that have been created against it.
Yeah, I think you could easily create a new tab. If you had the on-premise, you'd create a new tab in the company field that showed you all the tasks.
Yeah, we have done that before, actually.
Or you could create a new page, a grid like this, which you could allow you to search by company name and see.
I wonder if you could do it in the activities, in fact. So if we went into the activities here, and instead we clicked on type, clicked on task, and then in here, yeah, there you go. So that's how you would do it. Click into here, and then you would be able to list all of the tasks for that particular company.
Okay. Okay, regarding CRM products, I saw Bitrix was updated to some sort of store, and the way products are shown individually changed. I'm not able to see some custom fields I created for products. Is there a way to come back to the original view? So regarding CRM products, let's see, so you're missing some fields now. So products still available in here. So you can create products inside the CRM. I don't know if they're associated with store. Let's
I think they are. There's that simple product over here.
Okay. So they are associated. So you're missing some fields now custom fields. You can't see those. I don't know. Maybe if you want to get in touch with us, we could look into that. I mean, if it might be. Let's just go back in. There might be. Let's go back into one of these products. Which categories we've got? Any products? So you can create custom fields, and you're saying that that's not being pulled through. So it might be that if you've checked everything, you can get in touch with us, and we could have a look for you. But if you've checked everything and they're not showing anymore, then it's something that you'd have to contact Bitrix about, raise a ticket, try and get that fixed. But it's not something we've been made aware of before. So I guess it's something you need to get access to. So if you want to get in touch with us, sales@interface.com, we'll have a look into it for you.
Is it possible to show us the best practices in terms of importing bulk contacts? So there's really only a couple of things that you need to ensure that you've done prior to importing contacts, especially if you work with companies inside the CRM. So make sure that the companies exist before you do your bulk contact import, because then you can associate the contact to the company. So that's the first stage. The second stage is obviously ensure that you've created all the custom fields that you need for your contacts. So if you go into the CRM settings here and go into form and report settings, custom fields, and then contacts, to ensure that you've got all the fields that you're ready to import into. And then really it's quite straightforward. Just ensure that you have in your import, you've got first and last name. Those are the mandatory fields in a contact. You can't import a contact without first and last name. And if you do want to associate the contacts to a company, please make sure that you've got the company name column in your import as well. Once you're ready to do the import, if you click on Import Custom CSV here, if we just download an example, click on Choose File just for me to download that. And then if you also want, another tip is to make sure you have a responsible person column if you don't want all the same person to be responsible for your import. Because by default, if you don't have a responsible person column, this person here that you select will be the default responsible. And then scroll down, click on Next. And then it's quite straightforward. You just map your column name in your spreadsheet. So that's the bold text down the left-hand side. And then down the right-hand side, you map the fields to the relevant fields inside Bitrix. Usually, if you created your spreadsheet yourself without downloading that sample, you will have a lot of empty fields because they won't match word for word, letter for letter. And also all you need to do is just find the field that you want to map them to. And then once you've done that, just click on Next. And then it's completely up to you how you want to handle duplicates. You can allow them, you can replace ones that already exist, you can merge and update, or you can skip them. And it's based on these three criteria. So first and last name together, phone number, and email address. And that's it really. It's quite straightforward. Just need to make sure that those things are in place at the start before you do the import.
Okay, just following up on my question about hiding skeleton workgroup tasks, if we were going to create these frequently, is there another way of hiding these tasks other than making them complete? So let's go into tasks. Then you can delete tasks. You can complete them. I mean, Bitrix works on these filters at the top, so really you can set the view whatever you want. If you want to create a custom field inside a task, then you can do that.
Yeah, the only problem with that though, it wouldn't work because you can't negatively search for something to filter something out. So if you had a custom field that said skeleton task, you can't exclude that from the list. Bitrix doesn't work on a negative search value. So the only way that I can think of at this present time is because they're only your tasks are only in one work group. Theoretically, you could click on here and search for every other project other than your skeleton group, but that's overkill. I think you really just need to close them, and then when you duplicate in that work group, open them up again. The only other option is to create task templates for the tasks that are inside that work group, and then every time you create that work group to duplicate it, you create the tasks using the task templates. That's the only way to do it.
Okay. We don't have any new questions. If you want to ask any questions, then please do so. Otherwise, email your questions to sales@interface.com. We can answer them next week, or we can have a one-to-one call to answer your questions during the week. Yeah, but as we have nothing new coming in, please come back to us next week. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, you get notifications, so do that. And also if you go to Bitrix24.com's homepage, you can see webinars that we run as well. They're advertised on there. But that looks like it's all we have for today. Thanks for your time. Bye for now.